So to do this character, we're going to get a Moom in a box, that one I have on the server, and open it up. And in order to animate him, we need his marionette strings or his controls working. So to get those controls working, and quite a bit on this project, we're going to use the channel box. So this is the attribute editor, which you can see is active by this tab. If I uncheck that or I click here, you can see that this is the thing for channel box. When there's both of them open, you can access them both from tabs. We need to be in channel box quite a bit on this project, and in this scenario you're going to enable right, mid, and left controls so that we can animate this walk cycle. To start with, we're going to play a little hokey pokey with the feet. We're going to take one foot, like the right foot for instance, and we're going to move it forward, and we're going to move the left foot backwards. Now notice when I change these values, the translate Z will change as well. This one is at 0.787 and this is one is 0.794. I'm going to change those numbers so that this is an even -1 and that this is +1. Now I could just use the move tool and get it there, but it's faster just to type the number that you want in there and put it there. So -1 means the foot's backwards, +1 means the foot is forward, and that's the settings I want. Down here I want the settings to be 0 to start this keyframe here, and then to select keyframe 0 and then select both feet and hit S on the keyboard to set a keyframe so that both feet on keyframe 0 are locked into that place. This is going to be very similar to the ball bounce, where it starts and ends in the exact same spot, which is why I'm going to drag now to keyframe 24 and hit S again on my keyboard to set those feet in that keyframe. Now when I hit play, you see that it does nothing because 0 and 24 are the same. There should be zero twitching from there should be no twitching at all between frames 24 and when it loops back into 0. Right now that's going to be easy to take care of. It's going to get harder though as we move forward. On keyframe 12 I am going to select one of these feet and move the forward foot to the back and the backwards foot forward. Select both feet again and hit S on the keyboard to set a keyframe. Now if I hit play, you can see that he shuffles or cross-country skis or Nordic-track his way across this icy floor wherever he's slipping and sliding for. But it doesn't look like he's walking. No, we need to make it so he looks more natural in his walk. One of the things that's going to make that happen right off the bat is whichever foot is moving forward between frames 0 and 12, which in this case is the left foot. Let me tumble onto that side. Whatever foot is moving forward between 0 and 12 will need to be set up in the air at keyframe 6. So we're refining our animation starting at 0, going to 24. We split that in half, we go to 12. We split that in half, we go to 6. And in this case, the next change we're going to make is we're going to lift this foot up in the air. Whoops, only one foot at a time. Just the foot that's moving forward between frames 0 and 12. So I've got to click and drag it to make sure that foot is this left foot. Click on the keyframe 6, and the translate Y now is going to go up in the air a little bit. Probably 0.1 there is where I'm going to want it, 0.1. And then once I'm done there, if I'm setting a thing up here, it's nice and easy to right click here and do key all. That'll allow me to set a keyframe for all those attributes. Now if you watch him, he lifts that foot up a little bit. Does it look natural? Not yet. We're getting there though. The other foot will need to be in the air on keyframe 18. So I'm going to go set a keyframe on 18 for that foot. Translate Y 0.1. Right click, key all, and now that foot is in the air when it's moving forward. Quick walk will make sure that the feet are in the right position. And the next thing I need to do is set a placeholder keyframe for the foot that's not in the air. So in keyframe 6, this is the foot on the ground. That one needs a placeholder keyframe for the next thing I'm going to do. So I'm going to click on this and hit S. This foot over here on keyframe 18 is on the ground. I'm going to hit an S there to set that one on the ground. Notice nothing's changed in the animation, but it will help me as I move forward to have that in the right position. So we're going to click on this keyframe 0. The next thing we need to do is lift the heel off the back. So if I click on the heel, and in this case this rig uses ball to lift the heel off the back, and I'm going to set the ball to 0.3. Right click, key all. I just made a change to keyframe 0. Immediately I go to keyframe 24 and make that same change, ball set to 0.3, right click, key all. Now keyframe 0 and 24 match, and when he walks, his heel lifts up in the back. The reason we had to set that placeholder keyframe is so that when his feet are next to each other, his foot is still solidly on the ground. It's only between frame 18 and 24 that his foot begins to lift off the ground. If I hadn't set that placeholder keyframe at keyframe 18, it would have started lifting off the ground immediately after keyframe 12, and we don't want that. So at keyframe 24, we lift that foot off the ground. Now I need to do the same thing for this foot over here on keyframe 12. That's when it's in the back. Go to ball, set it to 0.3, right click, key all, and now when I hit play, the walk is starting to look much more natural having those heels lift up in the back. But I want to make some more refinements, more changes. So in this case right here, I'm going to go to the foot that's in the air on keyframe 6. In this case, that's my left foot. Yours may be different if you animated them differently. Keyframe 6 is going to have the ball also set to 0.3 so that it kind of has this bent Z shape to the leg as it moves. And this is what we call the passing keyframe. And when it's passing, we want the heel to be bent right here. We might even want to make the heel bend a little bit more, perhaps to up to 0.4. We can try that. And then right click, key all to set that keyframe. Next, we're going to go to keyframe 18, click on it, and do the same thing. The ball, we're going to set it to 0.4. Right click, key all. So right click, key all on that keyframe there on 18. That way the foot that's forward is its heel lifted up in the ground as it moves forward. If we hit up play now, you can see it lifts its foot up and then sets it down. After that, the next thing we need to do is we actually, even though the heel's bent in that position there, we actually hit heel first and then toe. So I need to get that working by putting the keyframe 9 to where it needs to be. Next, we need to fix the way the toe hits the ground. We're going to do that by going to keyframe 9, and where the ball is set to 0.4, we're actually going to set the ball back down to 0 and right click, key all, and then on keyframe 9 we're going to lift the toe up in the air. So with toe FK, we're going to, if I click on toe FK, I middle click drag, it'll lift the toe up in the air, and that's what I want. Maybe 0.3 for this case, and now I do key all, and that will set my toe FK where it needs to be. So now when that foot comes forward, the heel comes down, and then the toe hits later. So watch that motion if you can. That toe hitting the ground is about where we want it. Okay. We could make some further refinements there, but that's pretty gosh darn close. We're going to go over here to keyframe 18 through 24 and look at this foot again. By keyframe 21, I want the ball, the toe, the heel to be back down, so I set the ball to 0, right click, key all, and then I want the toe up in the air, so that's the toe FK, and I was setting that to 0.3, right click, key all. So now if we watch this, we should have a pretty natural walk cycle. Hit play. It's pretty close. We could refine it some more, but this is going to be pretty good enough for your first time around. If you wanted to refine it a bit, you could try to make the heel hit first at a little bit of an angle. But right now, let's just start working on the hips. We can work more on the feet later if you want to. The hips, what we're going to do first of all with the hips is have them rotate with the feet. And right now we're going to synchronize them perfectly so that the feet and the hips rotate at the exact same time. When we walk, though, we actually move our hips slightly ahead of our leg motion. So let's see here. If I rotate this, I want to rotate it so the foot that's forward has the hip rotated that direction. To do that, I'm going to set this to about 15 degrees here. Right click, key all for the hip. And then I'm going to go to keyframe 24 and make that match. Right click, key all. And so we have 0 and 24 that I just set. Now I need to go to keyframe 12 and do -15. Right click, key all. If I hit play now, you can see that the hips will rotate with the feet and point towards the feet as they go. Next, I need to take the up and down motion, which I'm going to get from this hula hoop around him, and change that. So when his feet are spread apart, that's when his head and body are going to be at their lowest position. So what I need to do is go to keyframe 0, lower his body till his knee, right here, is bent slightly. I don't want it to straighten out or lock. I want it to be bent slightly. So I'm going to go to keyframe 0, and I'm going to hit S. And in this situation, 12 is going to be in the same thing because the legs are still apart. S, set a keyframe there. On keyframe 24, hit S again. These are the low periods of when he walks. Notice that he doesn't move up and down yet. Now I need to go to keyframe 6, move him up in the air a little bit. I don't want his knee to lock, slightly less than locking, and hit S on the keyboard. And then keyframe 18, set it to the same as I had it on 6, which was 0.03, it looks like. So I'm going to lift it up in the air till we're at about 0.03. Close enough. Hit S on the keyboard, and now when he walks, he moves up and down, and his hips basically follow his motion. His feet motion isn't perfect, but it's pretty gosh darn close. And so we've moved from the feet to the hips. Now we're going to start on hands and shoulders for the next part of this video.